The final week of the regular season in the NFL, the Cardinals will host the San Francisco 49ers in a game that doesn't matter to either side. No playoff implications here. Both teams are locked in to their spot in the NFC West. The Cardinals will finish third no matter what happens on Sunday. The 49ers will finish in fourth. The schedules are locked in for next season. And we know who the Cardinals are going to play at home, and that's very important for this topic that we are going to discuss right now, this conversation that we are going to have right now, because the Cardinals already, before their game on Sunday at State Farm Stadium against the 49ers, already walking into the building on Sunday, have 5 home wins. The last time that they won 5 home games, at least, 2017. That is now 8 years ago. The last time that the Cardinals did that. The last time they won 6 home games in a season, which they would be able to match with a win on Sunday against the 49ers, is 2015. So Jonathan Gannon has walked in here and in year 2 has done something this team hasn't seen since 2017, has a chance on Sunday to do something this team hasn't seen, this fan base hasn't seen since 2015, and that is win a bunch of home games. Turn State Farm Stadium into a home field advantage. And so Jonathan Gannon and company have done more than we have seen in 8 years, potentially 10 years. He's done more to make State Farm Stadium a home field advantage, more than we have seen in almost a decade. Yet, there is still work to be done. What was originally the genesis of this topic was a survey that ESPN put out earlier in the week. I almost said last week, and I have been fighting the urge to do it all throughout the show today. Producer Corey, there was college football on yesterday. College football, a Saturday institution. We were off yesterday. The urge in my head is that today is a Monday. That is how my brain has been operating all day today, that today is a Monday. College football, that's a weekend thing. We were off yesterday. It feels like the start of the week.
Yes, it does. The week just started.
It is the end of the week because we have one more show to do. So I have been fighting the urge for nearly 2 hours now to not refer to something that we talked about on Monday or Tuesday as last week. I have been fighting the urge, and I almost did it again. But earlier in the week, ESPN put out a survey that asked people inside the sport the toughest places to play, football-wise. So which stadiums have a home field advantage? Which places are tough places to play, meaning you don't want to go there? And the usual suspects are at the top, right? The Chiefs are up there. The Seahawks are up there with the 12th man. The teams that you would expect to be at the top were at the top. And there were votes and points for all of them. The Cardinals did not receive any points, any votes. Now, that shouldn't be a surprise. Team hasn't been very good. This has kind of been a place where, in general, depending on at what point in the year a team is here, if it's a team from the East Coast, when the weather is cold and they're playing here in November and December, their fan base is going to travel really well. You couple that with a Cardinals team that maybe is out of it by November or December, it can be very, very skewed 60-40, 70-30 to the opposing team, right? That's kind of been the way things have been for the last couple of years. Well, Jonathan Gannon is trying to turn that around. And winning 5 home games, depending on what they do on Sunday, is a step forward in that direction. But what becomes a home field advantage, when this becomes a feared place to play, is the consistency. The consistency is when it turns into Arrowhead. Now, I don't know if anything can be Arrowhead with how loud that place gets and just how dominant they've been. But Seattle has had roller coaster rides. They've been up and down. The consistency for enough stretch of time creates the home field advantage. And so it's great that they've done something they haven't done in 8 seasons. It's great that they have a chance on Sunday to do something they haven't done since 2015. That is all good. And if they do it, it will be one of the good things to take away from this season and one of the good things to take away from this game on Sunday. But there is work to be done, and that work can't start until next season. Well, pull out my sheet here. We now know who the Cardinals are going to play at home next season. We don't know the order. That will wait for the massive schedule release that occurs in about March or April when we get the schedule release, and we will react to it accordingly here on this program. But we do know who the opponents are because they're locked in to being the third team in the NFC West. So here is who the Cardinals are drawing at home next season. Your usual suspects, 49ers, Rams, Seahawks. And then here are the non-divisional opponents. The Falcons, the Jaguars, the Titans, the Packers, and the Panthers. And I have two immediate thoughts when you see that group listed the way that it is. When you see those teams, those 8 teams, those 8 games listed, there are two takeaways that I have. Takeaway 1 is, boy, are there some advantageous matchups there. You're going to get a Falcons team that's potentially in year 2 for Michael Penix, year 1.5, but a team that isn't all that great. A Jaguars team that's been a mess all season. They might have a new coach. They might have a new GM. And if you catch them early in the season, even with Trevor Lawrence, they still might be finding themselves. The Titans, a top 5 pick, quarterback mess, second-year coach. The Panthers, you at least get them at home this season. You don't draw them on the road. The Packers, you don't have to go to Lambeau. You get them here. That schedule lines up pretty well. Again, you're always going to face the 49ers, the Rams, and the Seahawks. You're always going to face those divisional opponents, but it's the makeup of the other teams. And I think to get the Packers at home is a huge win, to not have to go to Lambeau again. So that's the toughest game of the games. That is not a divisional opponent. And then it's Falcons, Jags, Titans, Panthers. There's a bunch of winnable games. And so you look at this. There's 5 or 6 wins on this paper. There are 5 or 6 home wins to where you can have double-digit home wins over the last 2 seasons, where you can be playing meaningful December football with a home crowd that's invested, with a home crowd that's fired up and ready to go and is bringing the energy and bringing the noise and not selling their tickets because the season is over. So you have to make this count. Because this slate of games, coupled with where you should be as a franchise, based on where you're going to finish this season, this team should be able to make this count. They should be able to make this meaningful. They should be able to present themselves with an opportunity to create a home field advantage. They started the groundwork this season. It's not going to end the way they wanted to. I certainly think we would be able to have this conversation even more if they were going to be playing a home playoff game. Because can you imagine a world where they're playing on Sunday and they win this game and they're in the playoffs? So it's six home wins during the regular season. And then you win a home playoff game, right? That'll get your fan base riled up. And then you have to go on the road, but maybe you lose. You don't think the fans are going to be roaring and ready to go the first home game of next season coming off of that? That's what was missed. That was the missed opportunity by blowing it in the second half. That's what was missed by being 1-5 since the bye week, is a real chance to make a lasting change, to make real headway on turning State Farm Stadium into a home field advantage. That's what this team is missing. They're not feared by everybody else in the league. Nobody fears coming to Arizona because of the inconsistent play, because of a fan base that, let's face it, when things go south, it's easy to check out. There's other things to do. The weather's nice year-round. You can do a lot of other things with your Sunday. If you live on the East Coast, not a whole lot you can do when it's 25 degrees outside. So you're going to sit down no matter what and watch your football team. We are very lucky to live in this state, to have the weather that we do and to be able to have all the stuff that we're able to do. So when the team is in the toilet, it's very easy to check out. Very easy to just go do something else with your Sunday, Monday, or Thursday. So then it's very easy to have a building that doesn't feel like a home field advantage, that feels, at worst, like a neutral site game. The Cardinals need to change that. Sunday, a small baby step. Getting to 6, doing something you haven't done since 2015. That's the last time they won 6 home games in a season. It's 10 years ago. I was still in college 10 years ago. I was still in college the last time the Cardinals won 6 home games in a season. I was just getting my start in radio the last time the Cardinals won at least 5 home games. That's how long it's been. And so you can't turn that around overnight. You don't turn that around in one season. What turns that around is consistency. Where at the end of the year, we're not doing a segment like this. We're doing a segment talking about how for the 3rd straight year, the Cardinals have won 6 home games. That's when it becomes a feared place to play. That's when it becomes an advantage for Jonathan Gannon and the Cardinals. And guess what? It needs to become an advantage if this team wants to have playoff championship aspirations. You need to have a home field advantage where teams don't want to face you. Like we said, does anybody want to go play in Detroit? Does anybody want to go play in Philadelphia? Does anybody, truthfully, want to go to Arrowhead and play Kansas City in the postseason? You talk about playing Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid, one of the other byproducts is you don't want to have to go to Arrowhead. The Miami Dolphins, great year last year, went to Arrowhead, looked like they didn't even belong in the postseason. The Bills, how many times have they gone to Arrowhead and lost? And their Super Bowl hopes have been completely derailed, completely thrown off course just because they had to go play Patrick Mahomes in Arrowhead, and that place is loud. The Cardinals need to put together the consistency to make that a reality. And they can take another small step. They've made good strides this year. There's a chance on Sunday to make another small step and then really try to turn things around in 2025.